I am in shock. I am in shock. The Indiana Fever just beat the Aces. The first win for the Indiana Fever against the Las Vegas Aces since I was 22 years old. Aces MVP to refs, Fever's MVP and Alyssa Smith. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
The Las Vegas Aces, a team carefully constructed and marketed as the WNBA's next unbreakable dynasty, didn't just lose a basketball game, they were publicly dismantled and humiliated on a national stage. The final score reflected a staggering 27-point blowout, with that number barely scratches the surface of the embarrassment. This wasn't a simple off night or a lucky win for their opponent. It was the complete and utter collapse of a champion, a brutal exposure of every crack that had been forming just beneath the surface, all laid bare for the entire world to witness. The illusion of invincibility was shattered, and the narrative of their unending reign was abruptly and violently rewritten in a single, disastrous performance.
And Asia Wilson, my God, you see how many free throws that lady have? Oh my God, on the stat sheet she had basically 30 points, but all the free throws this woman got, man. They tried their best to keep the Aces in the game, man, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter, man. They destroyed the Aces. About freaking time the Fever finally beats the Aces, man. And without Caitlin Clark.
What makes this collapse even more shocking is that the league's supposed MVP, Wilson, appeared to be getting every conceivable benefit of the doubt from the officiating crew, yet it still wasn't remotely enough to stem the tide. While Wilson was out here committing fouls so blatant they defy belief, like literally grabbing an opponent from over their head and getting away with it, her supposed all-star running mate, Chelsea Gray, was a complete non-factor. The same Chelsea Gray that pundits and fans have relentlessly tried to position as a superior player to Caitlin Clark provided absolutely nothing, vanishing when her team needed her most. This combination of preferential treatment for one star and the ghost-like performance of another created a perfect storm, and a hungry team from Indianapolis was more than ready to sail right through it and show them what championship caliber basketball actually looks like.
But this was a big win for the Fever because the Aces were the only team that they had not won at least one game to last season, meaning the Aces swept the Fever last season. They actually haven't won a game against the Aces in 16 games. And they did it without Caitlin Clark. This team is crazy. They are beating the number one team in the league first. And then they go and beat the Aces, who they haven't won to in 16 games. And they did it without Caitlin Clark, which is just a testament to how this team is finally developing a rhythm.
The final score of 81-54 wasn't just a lopsided victory for the Indiana Fever. It was a thunderous, Lee Altrin statement that reverberated far beyond the court. That statement was delivered with undeniable clarity, no amount of superstar bias from the officials, no amount of solo hero ball from Wilson, and certainly no amount of respect for a gas championship legacy can save you from a team that shows up with superior strategy, part and execution. The Fever didn't just beat the Aces, they exposed them as a fragile, one-dimensional team propped up by a narrative that could no longer support its own way when confronted with genuine, disciplined team basketball.
The line a decent amount of times. Asia Wilson, she got a favorable whistle in the second half, but it is what it is. Superstars get the whistle, unless your name is, 29 points for Asia Wilson, 3 boards, 3 personal fouls, 3 turnovers, 9 for 18 from the field goal, from the field, 11 for 13 from the free throw line. Look at the rest of her team. 2 points, 2 points, 2 points, 6 points, 0 points, 4 points, 2 points, 3 points. Dana Evans, 1 for 10, Dana Evans. Oh my goodness.
But to truly understand the dynamics of this game and the controversy that defined it, we have to zoom in on a single, pivotal moment in the third quarter. This is where the game's underlying tension boiled over, where the simmering frustrations with the officiating became impossible to ignore, and where the narrative of a biased whistle was etched in stone. It was a sequence that perfectly encapsulated the entire struggle, revealing just how tilted the playing field seemed to be. This is where things get really spicy.
I don't know about frustrations boiling over as more to just like making a point. Well, Caitlin said she got me though, so.
One more though.
She just got a bonus.
And by bonus, she was meaning the Commissioner's Cup bonus, which was $49 or $43,000 per player, because the prize pool was $500,000. And apparently, Steph White just was pissed about the officiating. I don't know if it was Asia Wilson's whistle or what, but...
Picture this, Lexi Hull, A player who has been grinding and putting in the fundamental work all season long executes a perfect box out on I. Wilson. Her positioning is flawless, her technique is textbook, and she cleanly secures the defensive rebound exactly the way every coach teaches from day one. It's a routine play executed with precision. But then from behind, I. Wilson lunges forward, completely ignoring Hull's established position, and literally wraps her arms over Hull's head and shoulders to snatch at the ball. In any basketball game, at any level, this is a clear, unambiguous, over-the-back foul call that should have been made instantly.
The third. Like I said, the referees were starting to get on the side of the Aces. They were trying to wheel the Aces back in, and Lexi stepped in and sort of killed it. Kelsey Mitchell never took her foot off the gas tonight, by the way. This is the best thing I've seen from Stephanie White all season long. Right here, she was aggravated by the refs already, and in the fourth quarter, 5:35 left, Stephanie White lost her shit on the sideline. She lost her shit. And let me just play this right here. Roll it.
Lost that lead late.
And she gonna, you see her just losing it up here.
Anyone who has even a casual understanding of basketball knows precisely what should have happened next. The whistle should have blown, an over-the-back foul should have been called on I. Wilson, and the Indiana Fever should have been awarded possession of the ball. It's one of the most straightforward and fundamental rules in the sport. Instead, in a moment of officiating that can only be described as bafflingly incompetent or deliberately biased, the referees called it a jump ball. A jump ball. They treated a play where one player established legal position and was fouled from behind as a decision so nonsensical it left everyone watching in stunned disbelief. The sheer absurdity of the call was so potent that even the professional broadcasters, who are trained to remain somewhat neutral, were audibly shocked. You could hear the genuine confusion and disbelief in their voices as they tried to rationalise what they had just seen on the replay. They stumbled over the words, attempting to find some logical explanation for how textbook foul could be magically transformed into a neutral jump ball. There was no grey area, no contact. The violation was so obvious that their professional composure momentarily cracked under the weight of such a bewildering decision.
To really put it on, right here you can see 24 points in the first half for the Aces. I mean, seriously, for the Aces. Points in the paint, 38-20. I mean, it was a dominant win.
This wasn't just a missed call. It was a decision that actively rewarded the player who committed the foul and punished the player who did everything correctly. The contact was far too blatant, the positioning far too clear for it to be interpreted any other way. Yet the officials, the so-called zebras, somehow found a way to intervene and manufacture a scenario that gave the Las Vegas Aces a lifeline they absolutely did not deserve. It was a moment that seemed to confirm every suspicion that the defending champs were playing by a different set of rules and the frustration was about to boil over. The blatant injustice of the no call was too much for the Indiana sideline to bear, and the team's coach erupted in a fiery, but completely justified, outburst of frustration. In that moment, he was a voice for every player and fan who saw the play for what it was, and his passion earned him a swift technical foul from the same officials who had just ignored a far more egregious on-court violation. The tension on the sideline was palpable, a physical manifestation of a team fighting not just their opponent, but what felt like the very structure of the game itself. It was a raw, unfiltered moment of defiance.
This defense is playing phenomenal. Oh my God, it's night and day. I think that Commissioner's Cup gave them swag. Now they're swagging it out. I've never seen Natasha Howard so aggressive in my life. This girl is beasting now all suddenly. She is beast moding right now. And Timpson, the rookie, getting block shots, getting steals. Aaliyah Boston is just murking, destroying Asia Wilson. I got a Wilson. I got a nickname for Asia Wilson, guys. You know what it is? Whistle Wilson. Because this lady's always getting whistles. She's the person with the special whistle, guys. Every freaking time. And then she goes to the free throw line. Freaking free throw merchant. I think she's related to SGA. But anyway, she's not playing that great.
And watching it all unfold, you can bet Caitlin Clark absolutely loved it. From From her spot on the sideline, her reaction wasn't just about the drama. It was a look of a pure competitor who understands the importance of fighting for every inch and demanding fairness. She saw her coach stand up for his team against a call that defied her logic, and her visible approval was a testament to the fiery, competitive spirit that has defined her entire career. It was a small moment of moral victory in a sea of frustration, and it seemed to galvanise the team's resolve. But this is where the story takes a turn from frustrating to truly beautiful, because the Indiana Fever refused to let skewed officiating define their fate. They absorbed that terrible call, took the sideline technical foul in stride, and then channeled their collective anger into a performance of such overwhelming dominance that it rendered every questionable whistle completely irrelevant. They didn't just win, they systematically demolished the Aces quarter by quarter in a display of basketball poetry. In the first quarter, Indiana set the tone immediately, jumping out to a 6-0 lead and never looking back. They ended the period up 21-14, shooting a blistering 52.9% from the field while holding Las Vegas to a dismal 28.6%, signalling that the supposed dynasty was in for a very long night.
The Aces tried to put a little run together to start the third quarter, and Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull shut that shit down. They shut it down by hitting some big shots. All right, that steal led to the only 2 points that Sophie Cunningham had, but it was big. So right here, let's start Aaliyah Boston right here. That's Sydney Colson to Boston. She gonna drive into the lane.
That early dominance was built on an absolute masterclass in the paint, where the Fever established their physical and tactical superiority from the opening tip. They outscored the Aces by a staggering 16-4 in the paint in the first quarter alone. This wasn't just about scoring, it was a strategic statement. They were directly challenging the heart of the Aces' defence, attacking their front court with relentless aggression and proving that they would not be intimidated by reputations. This early control of the interior set the foundation for the blowout that was to come. If the first quarter was a statement, the second quarter was the moment the Indiana Fever decided to step firmly on the Aces' throats and end the game. They unleashed an offensive onslaught that was nothing short of breathtaking, outscoring Las Vegas 25-10 in the period. They shot an almost unbelievable 81.8% from the field, a figure that represents near perfect execution, while the Aces continued to flounder, managing just 23.5% shooting. Inside the paint, the Fever were a perfect 6 for 6, while Las Vegas bricked shot after shot, going 3 for 13. By the time the halftime buzzer sounded, the score was a lopsided 46-24, and the contest was, for all intents and purposes, completely over.
I'm about to say some words I never thought I'd say. Free Asia Wilson. Free her now. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. I never thought I'd say this. If I'm Asia, I'm in that locker room, I'm stripping everybody of their A1s. I'm sure I didn't give y'all these free shoes and y'all gonna come out here and y'all can't even give me more than 5 points. None of y'all, where y'all at? Y'all can't help me out. I'm reigning MVP. I'm bringing y'all these champions. I took a pay cut for some of y'all to be here and you can't give me no points. Really, I'm over here, I have 25 points in the third quarter and you can't give me nothing.
That controversial jump ball call, which should have been a turning point in Las Vegas' favour, instead became a symbol of their desperation. The officials handed them a lifeline, a chance to stop the bleeding and potentially swing the momentum back in their favour when they were already on the ropes. It was a gift-wrapped opportunity for the defending champions to reset, catch their breath, and perhaps claw their way back into a game that was rapidly slipping away. For a fleeting moment, it seemed as though the power of their reputation was about to tilt the scales. For the Indiana Fever, that moment could have easily been a psychological breaking point, a classic here we go again scenario where a questionable call against a marquee opponent shatters a young team's confidence. Every single person in that arena knew Lexi Hull had been fouled, and that her perfect defensive play had been unjustly negated. It was the exact type of demoralising call that can cause a team to unravel. And for the Aces, it was a sigh of relief, a ball they didn't earn, a moment of reprieve when their offence was completely stagnant. However, the Fever's response was not to fold, but to get even stronger, and by the end of the third, the lead had ballooned to 68-47. Then came the fourth quarter, a period of pure, unadulterated domination. The Las Vegas Aces, the supposed defensive juggernaut, scored a measly 7 points. 7. That isn't a basketball score. It's a complete and total system failure, an on-court collapse of epic proportions. The final score of 81-54 doesn't even do justice to the sheer scale of the dismantling that occurred.
God, with more turnovers than points and assists combined. More turnovers than points and assists combined. We got point guard. aka point fraud. And remember, this is probably who the WNBA player said was also better than Caitlin Clark. They said I'm pretty confident they said she was better than Caitlin Clark.
Now, let's put Wilson's performance under a microscope, because the numbers tell a fascinating and deceptive story. She finished the game with 29 points on a respectable 9 of 18 shooting, and she got to the free throw line a whopping 13 times, making 11 of them. On paper, those statistics look like a solid, even impressive, individual effort. The fact that she shot 13 free throws, only 4 fewer than the entire Indiana Fever team combined, proves she had an incredibly favourable whistle all night long. Here's the devastating truth hidden behind those numbers. Wilson scored 29 points, received preferential treatment from the refs, and her team still lost the game by 27 points. Her stats were completely empty, a meaningless footnote in a story of her team's utter collapse. The story gets even more damning when you look beyond Wilson's individual numbers. After her 9 of 18 shooting performance, the rest of the Las Vegas Aces combined to shoot an abysmal 7 of 43 from the field. That is a shocking 16.3% shooting percentage from every other player on the roster. No other Aces player managed to score more than 6 points. Let that sink in for a moment. On a team that is constantly praised for its championship depth and star power, the MUFB candidate was effectively playing 1-on-5 basketball while her teammates completely disappeared. And speaking of disappearing acts, let's discuss Chelsea Gray. The veteran point guard, whom some circles have boldly claimed is better than Caitlin Clark, finished the game with 2 points on 1 of 3 shooting, 2 assists, and a staggering 5 turnovers. 2 points. This is the player tasked with running the offence and elevating her teammates, yet she looked utterly lost, suffocated by a relentless Fever defence that made her a complete liability on the floor.
Guys, when did Indiana Fever turn into the best defensive team in the NBA? When? I mean, after that celebration from the Commissioner's Cup, we all thought they were going to come out here a little bit hangover. I mean, their defensive prowess has gone up 100%. In the first half, we have Aces down 22 points. We have only beaten Las Vegas Aces 1 time in 9 years. For those who do not know that statistic, we've only beaten them once in 9 years. Their defense is impenetrable. We have 28 points in the paint for the second quarter. We are shooting 90% from the field in the second quarter. This is insane!
Now, contrast that disastrous performance with what Caitlin Clark was doing from the Indiana sideline. While Chelsea Gray was turning the ball over and struggling to contribute, Clark was a beacon of positive energy, cheering on her teammates, celebrating every defensive stop, and being a vocal leader even while sidelined with an injury. The broadcast cameras repeatedly caught her fired up on the bench, her passion infectious, keeping her team locked in and motivated. That is the definition of true leadership, a kind that elevates a team's spirit and impacts winning culture, even without scoring a single point. Her absence on the court was filled by a masterclass in balanced, unselfish team basketball. Kelsey Mitchell was electric, dropping 25 points and dishing out 6 assists. Aaliyah Boston was a force inside, adding 20 points and 7 rebounds. And the Commissioner's Cup MUV, Natasha Howard, posted a commanding double-double with 11 points and 10 rebounds, showcasing a perfectly executed, multifaceted attack. But the true cornerstone of this monumental victory was the Fever suffocating defence. They held the high-powered Las Vegas offence to just 26% shooting from the field, the worst offensive performance of the entire season. They were relentless, forcing 17 turnovers and completely dominating the interior, where they held a 28-10 advantage in points in the paint in the first half alone. This wasn't just 1 or 2 players having a good defensive game. This was a clinic in team defence, where all 5 players on the court moved as one cohesive unit.
Team win, folks. Team win. And you notice the team win, like I said, 24 assists on 31 shots. 24 assists on 31 shots. The Indiana Fever hold the Las Vegas Aces to 26% from the field. 26%. This was a Fever defense smothering. The Aces weren't just missing shots. The Fever defense was all over the place. Defensively, we were all over the place. Neither team could hit a 3, except for Kelsey Mitchell. Money Mitch can hit the 3.
The eye test confirmed everything the statistics screamed. While Wilson was busy compiling her 29 points in what ultimately became a showcase of empty calorie scoring, the Indiana Fever were a portrait of basketball harmony. They moved the ball with purpose and precision. Their defensive switches were seamless, and they executed their game plan with the kind of cold, calculated discipline that defines a true championship contender. They were everything the Las Vegas Aces were not: connected, resilient, and fundamentally sound. And through every moment of this masterful performance, Caitlin Clark was visibly having the time of her life on the sidelines. You could see her genuine joy and excitement for her teammates' success, her infectious energy spreading like wildfire down the bench, and her powerful leadership presence felt even though she never stepped on the court. It was a stark contrast to the dejected, confused body language of the Las Vegas Aces, who looked like a team that had completely lost its way, unable to comprehend how they had fallen into such a deep, inescapable hole. This game didn't just expose a bad night. It exposed that the Aces have lost their identity, their chemistry, and the will to win when faced with real adversity.
CC gang! Fever gang! Down goes the punk-ass Las Vegas Aces, everybody! Kelsey Mitchell, the road runner, out there dropping daggers with a 25-piece. Boston Market with the rotisserie chicken, baked beans, corn on the cob, mashed potato, every drink available. The tiny assassin, Harry McDonald, out there slicing through the defense, getting buckets. Asia crybaby ass Wilson, hold this L. You ain't nothing but a free throw merchant, goofy Indiana Fever. That's how y'all ball. I don't know what's going on right now, but y'all got the momentum. We can't wait till Caitlin Clark is back on the floor.
When the Indiana Fever finally broke through the wall of adversity, they didn't just squeak by with a win. They delivered an absolute beatdown from the opening tip to the final buzzer, leaving zero doubt as to which team was superior in coaching, preparation, and heart. Wilson can continue to get all the favourable calls she wants. She can grab players from over their heads and be rewarded with jump balls instead of fouls. This game served as a powerful reminder that at the end of the day, basketball is a team sport and a cohesive discipline unit will almost always triumph over isolated individual heroics. With this single, dominant performance, the Indiana Fever sent an unmistakable message to the entire WNBA. They are not intimidated by big names or championship pedigrees. They will not be rattled by questionable officiating, and they will not back down from any challenge. This team possesses real chemistry, a deep well of toughness, and the undeniable makings of a future champion. As for the Las Vegas Aces, they have been served a harsh dose of reality. This game proved that they are no longer the undisputed team to beat, and their crown is officially up for grabs. The standard has been reset, and the Indiana Fever have arrived. Welcome to the new hierarchy of the WNBA, where grit, teamwork, and execution have toppled a fragile dynasty. The Indiana Fever are officially in town, and they have made it painfully clear that they are not going anywhere. If you enjoyed this in-depth breakdown of how the league's power structure was just turned on its head, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. What are your biggest takeaways from this game? Do you think the Aces dynasty is officially over? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. We want to hear what you have to say.